What's the difference between the courage found in your heart and in my heart and the courage that is found inside the heart of Christ? Bienvenidos and welcome back, familia, to another episode of Spirit Led. This is, I guess we could say it's episode 3. In the last episode, I got a chance to listen to a song called Not Afraid by Hillsong United, and that song was full of so many different messages. There were a few lines that really stood out to me, and one particular line, one specific line in the song brought a lot of questions to the surface, a lot of which I'd like to ask you. This particular episode may not be for you. Maybe you're the type of person who doesn't like to ask any questions. You just like the answers given to you. You just want a formula to follow. You don't want to dig deep. You don't want to ask questions. You just want the answers and that's it. And I respect that. And if this is not for you, then it's not for you. If you're the other type of person, the person that likes to inquire into things, the person who likes to introspect and think about things deeply and find the answers for yourself, then this video is for you. I'd like you to pause this video and take a moment to go grab a notebook and a pen or pencil or a crayon or anything that writes. And as I go along and ask these questions, you can pause the video at any moment and go back and write down any questions that really stand out to you. And I'd like you to really ask that question of yourself. Really dig deep into that question. I'm not looking for any specific answer. If you have an answer, you can write your answer in the comment section down below. But what I really encourage is that you ask more questions. If one of the questions that I ask brings up another question, write it down in the comment section. And maybe your answer or your question could get pinned on the top of all of the comments. So make it good. If you're ready, hit the like button now and let's get started. So I'm sitting there listening to the song and I'm having my conversation with the Great Spirit, with Christ. And I begin to ask and wonder why Hillsong United decided to write this particular line. The line in the song that really stood out to me was a line that said, "Teach me to brave the darkness in the courage of your heart." That brought up so many questions for me. What is fear? Why are humans afraid? What sorts of things are we afraid of? Both in the inner and the outer world. What sorts of things are we afraid of? Why? Why are we afraid? Are there appropriate fears, or are all fears to be avoided? Should fears remain as fears, or should they be converted into something else? For example, when we see a tiger, we should be afraid. What is that fear actually telling us? Is it warning us of a danger of death? Is it pushing us to survive? After dealing with that fear, should that fear remain as fear, or should it be converted into something else? If so, what could it be converted to? What lesson is it trying to teach us? What is fear? And why should we not be afraid? The song says, "Teach me to brave the darkness in the courage of your heart." What does it mean to be brave? Why does one need to be brave? What happens to fear when one is brave? Is God afraid? Does God have fear? Is God afraid of anything? Teach me to brave the darkness in the courage of your heart. What is courage? What does it mean to brave the darkness? Why should I brave the darkness? What is the darkness? And why am I afraid of it? What is my fear telling me about the darkness? What does braving the darkness even do? What am I waiting for in this darkness? What am I hoping for? What am I aiming for? Where am I going that I should brave the darkness? Teach me to brave the darkness in the courage of your heart. If everything comes to pass, does this darkness pass? Or is darkness and death somehow excluded from this? Meaning everything passes except death, except darkness. Or is darkness included? I'm not afraid. What does that mean? What does it mean to not be afraid? Teach me to brave the darkness in the courage of your heart. Why ask Christ to teach me to brave the darkness? What do I gain from braving the darkness? Why is it important to point out that you want to be taught to brave the darkness specifically in the courage of Christ's heart? What's so important about that? Why not ask to brave the darkness somewhere else? Why the courage of his heart specifically? What's so special about that courage specifically? What's so special about the courage in that heart that I would want to learn to brave the darkness there specifically? What is the difference between the courage in the heart of Christ and the courage in the heart of man or woman? What's the difference between the courage found in your heart and in my heart and the courage that is found inside the heart of Christ? When my heart is courageous, is it with the same courage that is found in his heart? My heart and your heart can be corrupted, tainted, and smeared with fear, anger, violence, and greed. Is the heart of Christ made of the same nature? Is it of the same quality? Is the heart of Christ made with the same attributes? In other words, can it be corrupted? Can it be tainted or smeared? If his heart can be corrupted, then it's just like me. And why would I want to learn how to brave the darkness in a heart that is just as corruptible and contaminated as mine? If his heart is not corruptible, that must mean that the heart of Christ is something else. That means that within this heart, within this space, there must be a courage that is without fear. And if I am to learn how to brave the darkness in any heart, it must definitely be the heart of Christ, where there is no fear to be found. Only there can we learn to brave every darkness. Why not ask to have the fear removed instead? If the fear could be removed from my heart, if God were to remove that fear from my heart, what would happen? What would I learn? Could that fear come back? Is my heart capable of keeping that fear out? How does it even enter my heart again? If my heart is capable of keeping that fear out, what would happen the next time I encounter danger and that fear doesn't come up to warn me? What did Jesus do when he was confronted with darkness? What did Jesus do when he was tempted by evil? And do I have the capacity to respond to the darkness and to the evil in the same way that Christ does? And there you have it, familia. Just a handful of questions, or 4 handfuls of questions that you should ask yourself. And you're more than welcome to answer in the comment section down below, but I encourage you again to ask more questions. Let me know if there are any other questions that arise for you, and I'll see you in the comment section. Peace. Don't forget to subscribe to Collington and Boiling Point. I'll see you. Bye.